On today's vlog, Marvel marketing. They have a bit of an issue going on with Marvel Legacy, but don't let that spoil you on Marvel Legacy yet. As it turns out, the event itself may not completely stink. I can't guarantee one way or the other whether it will or not, although Marvel seems to be trying to, play both sides here and make them all happy, and that's the kind of thing that rarely, if ever, works. But whatever they need to do to make a bigger tent and to bring in more people should be a good thing. Let's hope they can find a way to balance the two things out in a good way and that they make lots of money. The problem with Marvel Legacy so far has just been the marketing, and that is the huge marketing faux pas that happened last week that they're still trying to backtrack from desperately. And that is releasing 50 homage covers and saying this is going to change the comics industry does absolutely nothing to change the comics industry or change any fans' belief or support of Marvel Comics themselves. The Marvel fanboys will still be Marvel fanboys. The people who hate Marvel will still hate Marvel. I'm somewhere in between, actually, these days, which I think is probably a healthy place to be. Color me skeptical, but that's the way things are. The problem is the marketing. So 50 covers... nothing new there. We don't have any creators listed yet. I have a bad feeling it'll just be a shuffling of all the current creators onto new titles, or with slightly new angles, but whatever makes them happy, that'll all work. The thing I want to focus on that I haven't seen anybody else mention that really bothered the crap out of me is using animated GIFs to show off these covers. Now, the first few covers, 4 or 6 of them, came out. They were nice to view. They were side by side, the old covers and then the new covers next to it. You could, compare and contrast back and forth. It was really easy to read and see what they were trying to do with that particular cover. Then the next 40 some odd, instead they created animated GIFs. And it would fade in from the old one to the new one, back to the old one, back to the new one. And if you sat there for enough cycles, you could finally figure out what's so different about the new cover from the old cover. It is a horrible way to present that information because while it does take up less screen space, and I'm sure just looks great on Snapchat, on your mobile phone experience, which everyone wants to discuss first and foremost, it is also a horrible way to show people the new artwork. Because if there's more than 1 point of difference between the two covers, and there usually was, except for like Moon Knight, you had to sit there and go through that cycle of flipping back and forth between covers a half a dozen times before you can make out all the things that have changed. And even then, you never really get to take in the whole cover because it only shows up for about a second before it starts flipping over to the next cover. And that is just flat out annoying. Take a look at the Astonishing X-Men cover homage, for example. I think John Cassaday definitely drew the original one. I think he drew the new one too. I couldn't tell because I couldn't focus on the image long enough to figure it out. But there's 5 or 6 different characters on the cover, and you want to see who's in which place and who's switching with who and who the new team is. And it just gets tedious waiting for the GIF to transform back to the other one over and over. And then it does, and you're happy. But, that's the problem. The animated GIF, I think, is my main qualm right now with the event. That and the fact we don't know who anybody is, except Greg Pak is writing something, and To Be Determined is drawing it. Big whoop. So that's Marvel Legacy right now. We'll see what happens. I'm guessing probably around San Diego time, they'll announce some actual creative teams, maybe some directions, maybe there'll be a plot involved or something. Let's hope they don't all link together in some crazy Marvel-wide continuity. A boy can dream, can't he? In the meantime, a little look forward into what might be coming up in pipeline soon. This is what I'm reading these days. Marvel Knights #1. This is from the year 2000. Chuck Dixon writing and Eduardo Barreto drawing most of it, at least. Joe Quesada did covers in the first batch. And Trent... Was it Trent? Hold on. Let me take a look. I got all the issues sitting here. After Quesada drew the covers, then we had... Now I'm committed to this. I've got to figure this out. I think it was Trent Kaniuga. I'll look that up and edit it into this video later. I don't have the last couple issues here with me. Famously, the series ended with Joe Quesada and Chuck Dixon not getting along too well and cries of ageism and all the rest. But it was a good series as far as I remember it. The funny thing is that I'm finding, just looking at the covers to this, is it looks like it might as well be a Netflix series. I mean, yeah, you're mixing the movies and the TV. You got Black Panther and Doctor Strange, but then you also have Daredevil's on here, Moon Knight, I think, no, Punisher? Oh, Black Widow, so she's from the movie too. But if you find a different cover, you know, you'll find Punishers on here, and this guy, I forget his name. And here we go, Cloak and Dagger, or at least Dagger is on here. So you got another TV show, not a Netflix show, but another TV show at least. So I'm reading those to see if they hold up after all these years. I think they will, because Eduardo Breito drew some pretty stuff, and Chuck Dixon's always been a writer I've liked. So let's see how it all works out. I'll let you know in a future Pipeline column or pipelinecomics.com article. We'll see. That is it for today, because it's getting hot in this car now because I've turned the air conditioning off, so you don't all just hear the fan the entire time I'm talking. Check out pipelinecomics.com for more. I just posted a review there this morning of a European graphic novel called Clara, which is about a girl who loses her mother, and it's not funny at all. It's heartbreaking. It'll make you cry, but it's a great book. It's like 50 pages complete in one album. Highly recommended. Read it with your kid if you want someday, if they're old enough to handle this kind of stuff. It is a cool book. Read more of the review at pipelinecomics.com. Don't forget to subscribe below somewhere, and find me at pipelinecomics.com or AugieDB or pipelinecomics at twitter.com, all those places. I really need to come up with a good ending for this. It's all part of the process. That's what you watch this stuff for, right? Thanks for watching. I'm Augie the Bleak, and I'll see you again real soon.